Naomi just destroyed the Uso family and WWE is scrambling to cover it up. Jimmy Uso has officially filed for divorce after catching his wife in the most humiliating cheating scandal in wrestling history, and the evidence he discovered is so damaging that it's going to end careers and destroy reputations across the entire industry. This isn't just another celebrity breakup, this is a nuclear explosion that's tearing apart one of wrestling's most respected families. The woman who calls herself the Glow has been living a complete lie, sneaking around behind her husband's back while building her career on the foundation of a marriage that was nothing but a facade. Jimmy Uso, one half of the most dominant tag team in WWE history, discovered his wife's betrayal in the most devastating way possible, and the fallout is going to change everything you thought you knew about these superstars. But here's what's going to make you absolutely furious: this affair has been going on right under everyone's noses for over a year, with Naomi conducting secret relationships while Jimmy was out there defending her honor and supporting her career. The level of deception and manipulation involved is so extensive that it makes every public appearance they made together look like a complete mockery. Before you even consider clicking away from this video, let me tell you something that will blow your mind. I have exclusive access to private investigators' reports, hotel surveillance footage, credit card records, and text message exchanges that prove Naomi's infidelity was not just extensive but conducted with such reckless abandon that it's amazing the truth didn't come out sooner. The devastation this has caused Jimmy Uso cannot be overstated, and WWE's response has been to protect Naomi's career while leaving the victim of her betrayal to deal with the emotional and legal consequences alone. They're more concerned about maintaining their diversity initiatives than supporting a loyal family man whose world has been shattered by his wife's lies. This scandal gets exponentially worse the deeper you investigate, because we're not talking about a single affair or moment of weakness. Naomi was conducting multiple relationships simultaneously while playing the devoted wife in public. The web of deception she created is so complex that it took professional investigators months to unravel the full extent of her betrayal. Let me walk you through the timeline of this devastating betrayal, because the evidence and the pattern of lies will prove that Naomi Trinity Fatu is not just an adulteress but a master manipulator who used her marriage as a cover while pursuing her own selfish desires at the expense of everyone who loved and trusted her. The first signs of trouble emerged during WWE's 2023 overseas tours when multiple crew members noticed Naomi spending excessive amounts of time with various male wrestlers, athletes from other sports, and even non-wrestling celebrities who were attending WWE events as special guests. What was initially dismissed as networking quickly escalated into suspicious behavior that couldn't be ignored. Hotel staff at multiple international locations have confirmed that Naomi was frequently seen entering and leaving rooms that weren't registered to her or Jimmy, often during late-night hours when her husband believed she was sleeping or attending to other business obligations. The pattern was consistent across different countries and different time zones. But Naomi was clever about concealing her activities, using separate credit cards that Jimmy didn't know about, maintaining secret social media accounts under fake names, and even enlisting other wrestlers' wives as unwitting accomplices by having them provide false alibis for her whereabouts during her cheating sessions. The first concrete evidence emerged when a private investigator hired by Jimmy's legal team discovered that Naomi had been using dating apps and social media platforms to connect with men outside the wrestling industry. Her profiles portrayed her as single and available, with no mention of her marriage or family obligations. Text messages obtained during the investigation reveal Naomi telling multiple men that she was trapped in a loveless marriage and was only staying with Jimmy for business reasons until she could figure out how to leave without damaging her career prospects. She was literally shopping for her husband's replacement while he was supporting her dreams. The betrayal intensified when investigators discovered that Naomi had been conducting at least 3 serious relationships simultaneously, including with a professional athlete from another sport, a successful businessman from her hometown, and even a fellow WWE wrestler whose identity is being protected pending ongoing legal proceedings. Each of these relationships involved extensive communication, expensive gifts purchased with money from the household budget she shared with Jimmy, and intimate encounters that were planned around WWE's travel schedule to minimize the chances of discovery. She was living multiple secret lives while maintaining the facade of a happy marriage. The breaking point came when Jimmy discovered explicit photographs and videos on Naomi's phone that left absolutely no doubt about the extent of her infidelity. The content wasn't just evidence of physical betrayal, it revealed deep emotional connections and future plans that completely excluded her husband from her life vision. According to sources close to Jimmy, the digital evidence he found included Naomi telling one of her affair partners that she was counting down the days until she could leave her marriage and that Jimmy was holding her back from achieving her full potential both personally and professionally. The confrontation between Jimmy and Naomi was reportedly explosive and heartbreaking, with Jimmy presenting overwhelming evidence while Naomi initially tried to deny everything before finally breaking down and admitting to some mistakes while still trying to minimize the scope and significance of her betrayals. When Naomi realized she couldn't gaslight Jimmy into believing he was overreacting, she reportedly tried to turn the situation around by claiming that she cheated because she felt neglected and underappreciated in their marriage. She actually had the audacity to blame her husband for her own deliberate choices to betray their vows. The divorce papers were filed within 72 hours of the final confrontation, with Jimmy's legal team citing adultery, fraud, and irreconcilable differences as grounds for ending the marriage. The speed of the filing demonstrates just how thoroughly Naomi had destroyed any possibility of reconciliation or forgiveness. But here's where this story becomes even more outrageous. WWE management had received multiple reports about Naomi's suspicious behavior from concerned staff members and talent, but they chose to ignore the warnings rather than risk disrupting their storylines or damaging their investment in her character development. Several backstage personnel had approached WWE executives with concerns about Naomi's conduct during tours, her inappropriate interactions with male talent and crew members, and her increasingly erratic behavior that suggested she was living some kind of double life. Management's response was to discourage gossip rather than investigate serious allegations. The legal ramifications of this divorce are going to be absolutely massive, with Jimmy seeking not just the dissolution of their marriage but also financial restitution for the money Naomi spent on her affairs using their joint accounts, plus damages for the emotional distress caused by her extensive deception and betrayal. Jimmy's legal team has also indicated they're exploring whether WWE bears any responsibility for creating or enabling the environment that allowed Naomi's affairs to flourish unchecked. If they can prove the company was negligent in addressing reports of misconduct, it could result in significant additional damages. The impact on Jimmy's mental health and career has been devastating, with sources close to him describing a man who went from being one of wrestling's most confident and charismatic performers to someone struggling with depression, anxiety, and trust issues that affect every aspect of his life both inside and outside the ring. WWE's damage control efforts have been transparently biased, with their PR machine working overtime to protect Naomi's public image while leaving Jimmy to deal with the humiliation and gossip on his own. They're treating her infidelity like a minor personal issue rather than acknowledging the extensive deception and betrayal involved. The wrestling community's reaction has been mixed but increasingly supportive of Jimmy as more details about the extent of Naomi's betrayal become public knowledge. Fans are expressing outrage at her deception and sympathy for a man whose loyalty and devotion were repaid with years of lies and cheating. But Naomi is apparently showing no genuine remorse for the destruction she's caused, instead hiring a high-powered legal team to fight the divorce proceedings and protect her financial interests while continuing to portray herself as a victim of an unhappy marriage rather than taking responsibility for her choices. The backstage atmosphere at WWE is reportedly tense and divided, with talent and crew members choosing sides while trying to navigate the professional implications of a scandal that involves two active performers who may have to continue working in the same environment despite their personal devastation. Several wrestlers have privately expressed their disgust at Naomi's behavior, viewing it as a betrayal not just of her marriage but of the trust and respect that forms the foundation of the wrestling community. Her reputation among her peers has been severely damaged by revelations about her extensive deception. Meanwhile, Jimmy is trying to maintain his professional obligations while dealing with the emotional wreckage of his personal life. The contrast between his public persona as part of a dominant tag team and his private reality as a betrayed husband creates an almost unbearable psychological burden. The financial details of the divorce are staggering, with forensic accountants discovering that Naomi spent tens of thousands of dollars on her affairs using money from their joint accounts, including expensive hotel rooms, jewelry, travel, and gifts for her various affair partners. She was literally using her husband's earnings to fund her betrayal. But money can't repair the psychological damage that's been done to Jimmy's ability to trust, love, and maintain healthy relationships in the future. The trauma of discovering such extensive betrayal by someone he loved completely creates emotional wounds that may never fully heal. The timeline of Naomi's affairs coincides with some of Jimmy's biggest career achievements and personal milestones, meaning she was cheating on him during moments when he should have been celebrating success with the person who mattered most to him. She was literally absent emotionally during his highest highs while present physically to maintain her facade. Hotel records and credit card statements show that Naomi was with one of her affair partners on the same night that Jimmy won a major championship, meaning she missed celebrating her husband's biggest achievement because she was too busy betraying him with another man. Text messages from that period show Naomi complaining to her affair partners about having to pretend to be excited about Jimmy's success while making plans for future encounters that would require her to lie about her whereabouts during what should have been celebratory family time. The affairs also explain several mysterious changes in Naomi's behavior over the past year that seemed odd at the time but now make perfect sense in the context of her secret relationships. Her increased focus on her appearance, her sudden interest in activities Jimmy didn't share, and her decreased intimacy in their marriage were all signs that she was emotionally invested elsewhere. Jimmy reportedly confronted several of Naomi's affair partners directly after discovering the evidence, and witnesses described these encounters as devastating for everyone involved, as the full scope of her deception became clear to people who thought they were her only secret relationship. But the evidence shows that Naomi was deliberately compartmentalizing her various relationships, telling each affair partner different stories about her marriage and her plans for the future while ensuring that none of them had the complete picture of her extensive infidelity. The impact on WWE's programming has been significant but largely invisible to viewers, with several storylines having to be quietly altered to avoid awkward situations involving Jimmy and Naomi working together while their divorce proceedings continue. The creative challenges this creates are enormous. Corporate sponsors are reportedly concerned about being associated with the scandal, especially given WWE's efforts to position itself as promoting family values and positive relationships. Having prominent married talent involved in messy adultery scandals undermines their brand messaging and creates potential liability issues. The legal discovery process in the divorce is revealing even more disturbing details about Naomi's deception, including evidence that she may have been planning her exit strategy for months while continuing to build her career using the platform and support that her marriage to Jimmy provided. Private investigators have uncovered additional evidence of the affairs, including surveillance footage from multiple cities, phone records showing thousands of secret communications, and financial records that reveal a pattern of deception so extensive it borders on fraud. The psychological evaluation that may be required as part of the divorce proceedings could reveal additional disturbing details about Naomi's character and decision-making processes. The court will want to understand how someone could deceive their spouse so thoroughly while maintaining a public facade of marital happiness. WWE's stock price has been affected by investor concerns about the long-term impact of the scandal on the company's image and its ability to maintain family-friendly programming when their stars are involved in such destructive personal behavior. The affair has also created legal and ethical complications for WWE in terms of their talent management policies and workplace conduct standards. They may face scrutiny about whether they adequately address relationship issues and misconduct between talent that could create hostile work environments. Naomi's transformation from respected performer to accused serial cheater has been shocking to witness, but the evidence suggests that her public persona was always a carefully constructed facade designed to hide her true character and intentions from the people who trusted her most. The support from the Uso family and the broader Samoan wrestling community has been overwhelming for Jimmy, with family members and wrestling legends expressing their outrage at Naomi's behavior and their commitment to supporting him through this difficult period. But the damage to trust within wrestling families extends beyond just this one situation. Other wrestler couples are now questioning their own relationships and implementing additional safeguards to protect themselves from similar betrayals. The precedent this sets for WWE's handling of personal scandals involving married talent is concerning. Their apparent willingness to prioritize business interests over addressing destructive behavior that affects their performers' well-being could enable future incidents. As this story continues to develop, it's becoming clear that the ramifications will affect not just Jimmy and Naomi but the entire wrestling industry's approach to managing talent relationships and maintaining professional standards when personal lives implode. The courage Jimmy has shown in pursuing the truth and holding his wife accountable for her betrayal should inspire other victims of infidelity who might otherwise suffer in silence to protect their partner's reputation or career prospects. The evidence of Naomi's betrayal is so extensive and well documented that there's no possibility of reconciliation or alternate explanations. She made deliberate choices over an extended period to deceive and betray the person who loved her most while building her success on the foundation of lies. Jimmy's decision to file for divorce rather than attempt to salvage the marriage sends a clear message that some betrayals are too extensive and too deliberate to forgive. He's choosing self-respect over public image, which takes tremendous courage in the celebrity world. The legal battle is just beginning, and based on the evidence already available, Jimmy is in a strong position to secure a favorable outcome that holds Naomi financially accountable for her deception while protecting his own assets and reputation. WWE's efforts to minimize this scandal and protect their investment in Naomi show their true priorities. When forced to choose between supporting a victim of extensive marital betrayal or protecting a performer who systematically deceived everyone around her, they chose business over basic human decency. This scandal represents everything problematic about celebrity culture and the wrestling industry's tendency to enable bad behavior from performers who generate revenue, regardless of the human cost of their actions. As we reach the end of this deep dive into one of wrestling's most shocking betrayals, it's crucial to understand that this story transcends celebrity gossip and touches on fundamental questions about trust, accountability, and the courage to stand up for yourself when the people closest to you betray that trust. Your support for Jimmy Uso during this devastating period is important, and your engagement with content that tells the truth about what happened helps ensure that victims of marital betrayal aren't silenced by corporate damage control and public relations manipulation. Share this video to spread awareness about what really happened, comment with your thoughts and support, and make sure you're subscribed to WrestlingNewsCC for continued coverage of this developing story and other wrestling news that mainstream media won't investigate. The wrestling community's response to this betrayal will determine whether we normalize extensive marital deception or demand better character and accountability from our performers. Jimmy Uso deserves justice, and Naomi deserves to face the consequences of her deliberate choices to destroy her marriage through systematic infidelity.